Yeah, they're talking about made-up words as well. They're in a
okay.
they're in a subset. But
I'm monospeptic, phrasmotic, even punctuous, culture touch, pericomobilation, John.
I'm a big fan of Blackadder too.
I shall return interphrastically. Welcome to the Graphters podcast. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Gary.
How you doing, mate?
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you too. It is it's the wonderful 2024. It will be better than the last year, I hope.
My God, it has to be.
We can only dream. Yeah, no, I think it will be better than the last year. 2023 had its moments, that's for sure. Some good ones, some bad ones. It was a good year, though. I think. What do you reckon?
I think for us, it was a changing year for
Yes.
in a very positive direction.
Yeah.
Not quite positive enough in the bank balance yet, but it's showing potential.
Sorry, putting down my porter.
Yes, we're both on the porter tonight. That's how strange is that? It's like Gunny Highway on Heartbreak Ridge. We're wearing the same T-shirt.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, forget your filmic experiences do end at sci-fi and fantasy.
No, that's not entirely true. I love a bloody good thriller. I love a good thriller. And I like it, and I like a good detective story, and I love post-apocalyptic stuff, but I suppose you could class that as science fiction, couldn't you?
Then
really?
I would suggest you dig through the archives and find Heartbreak. I think it's Heartbreak Ridge. Heartbreak film.
Yeah. No. Well, you know, my problem is I don't like war films.
Well, it's technically not a war film. It's more of a discovery film about people.
Is it? Based in a war situation?
Only at the end. And it's very, very brief.
Is it? Okay.
And they're saving people. It's a rescue mission.
Oh, okay. So it was like, I always want to say the wrong title to this. Saving Private Ryan.
Is that the right title?
It is, because I always want to say Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Why would you want to say?
I don't think it's that.
Yeah, it's Heartbreak Ridge, 1986. It was made.
Oh, really? Oh, right. The year after the best, after the best year ever.
1985. 1984. Orson Welles.
No, 85. It was the best year ever.
Was it?
Yeah.
Rated by who?
Me.
Oh, fuck.
That's all that counts. All that counts.
See, 1992 was a good year. I met Marie.
True, but was it the greatest year of all time? Probably was for you.
Probably for me, yeah.
Yeah. I could really say 1976, was it? Do I always get this wrong? Or was it 73?
There was a great snow in 76. Was it 76?
There was. We are being so sad right now.
We're old.
I remember that snow, though.
We lived through it.
I remember actually falling into a snowdrift that came up to my chest. Yeah,
I remember creating igloos out of the snowdrifts at the side of the walls.
Yeah. It was balmy, and I always think, I always think to myself, that was the time. That must be the worst one ever. And then my dad is the son of farmer in a village in North Shropshire. It was a coal merchants not too far from my dad's, and the canal boat used to come up almost all the way to the farm, and then come past the farm. But he used to go to the coal merchants, and then he used to go straight back into Market Drayton, and that's where the coal would be taken off. And it was so cold one year that my dad was able to walk along the canal, actually on the top of the canal.
Wow.
It was completely frozen over. So thick. And my dad always reminds us, because he's got postcards, which are like sepia based. They're like old black and white cards that have just gone a bit brown. And they're of when the canal was frozen. And it's just like, my word. Mind you, it feels like that right now. I don't know what it's like. What's the temperature with you right now?
It was -2.
Yeah, it's -3 here at the minute. Yeah. Joyful, isn't it? Show you how cold it is, John. I went into the conservatory to get one of these beers. I've got some of these that are inside a cardboard box by the side of the little bar fridge we got in our conservatory. And in the fridge, I had some, and I took one out of the fridge, and I took one out of the box, and the box one was colder. That's insane.
Nice
Anyhow,
commercial for Coors if you're ever drinking that.
of course.
Yeah, they do the commercials where it's ice. It has to be ice cold, doesn't it?
Oh, that's
Cool.
right. You got it the blue label on the side, haven't you? Yeah. I'm actually quite pleased with this BrewDog Stout. Actually, I really quite like this BrewDog Stout.
Well, I'm drinking local today. I'm on Abbeydale Brewery, Sheffield
Oh,
brewers, and they do an English porter that's gluten free. Absolutely,
oh. Well, that makes it even better for you, doesn't it? Really.
it certainly does.
Mind you,
So
haven't you been having a bit of gluten over the Christmas period?
I have, but my joints ache again, so I reckon
Oh, really?
we should be.
Wow.
Let's not.
Well, I'm just going to quite happily stick to this and just suffer the consequences.
I have a bit of timber to shift after Christmas. It was maybe a little bit too good.
I'm going down. I'm yelling timber. I'm going a little fat. No, you're not the only one.
Oh,
My belly was the size of a house. Just after Christmas, it was like literally. I could have had a couple of. I could have kept a couple of immigrants in there. Yeah.
did it have too many polygons?
Yes, I've been decimating since then. Little bit of
Oh,
remeshing. I'll be all right. If I'm
definitely
honest.
the
Chop
timber
it a
bit.
lot of that.
Okay, so yes, 2023. What a really strange year that was. We had the writers' strike at the very beginning, actors' strike, then the writers' strike. 6 months, I think it went on for. Absolutely
It was a long time.
horrendous amount of time.
Mm.
So lots and lots of people certainly in our business were very uncertain about the futures.
It's surprising actually, because it is literally. It's not just like VFX and films, which it had a very, very big impact on, but it's also games as well. And I think people kind of let forget that.
Yeah, the back end of the year it was horrific. Um, Unity deciding to get rid of Weta, the technology bit that they bought from Weta. I mean,
But
they just paid 2 billion for it, so I suppose
well, yeah,
big chunk of
yeah,
change. Um,
made a big leap and then decided to drop it off. It's a shame.
yeah, I think from what I understand, there has been quite a lot of the technology has been moved across
Yeah.
to the new Unity's new platform. Then Epic, obviously, after so much growth, it was unheard of. All of the things, cool stuff that's going. I think they
Mm.
made a couple of changes to some in-house projects that they were doing. Decided not to run with a couple of software developments that they'd acquired as well, and that caused more layoffs. And then we're just going into 2024 with the news that Unity are releasing another batch of people. So it's a crazy bit of announcement. I think Twitch have just joined in as well. They've just laid off quite a few people. So
Mm.
sounds like there's lots of uncertainty
Yeah. Yeah.
out there, but there are lots of there's lots of positive out there as well. There's I reshared something on LinkedIn. There's you know there are lots of things in development. There are people are hiring still, so
Yeah.
the community's really rallying round to try and make sure that people that are affected don't have to spend too long
Mm.
without work. So it does make you realize what a great community we actually are a part of.
It's nice to be involved in something which is actually, it is quite a welcoming community, I feel.
Mm.
In fact, I think I'll be honest with you, I'm actually feeling this as time's gone on, it's actually become more welcoming. I don't think I'm wrong there.
I was going to say, do you find that you being freelance now, you being
Yeah.
the work gun for hire as you are,
Hmm.
you probably see more sides to the industry now because you're not locked in one studio in one house, are you?
What I find is when I freelance, I tend to work in more different, more varied sectors. Obviously,
Mm.
because I'm not in one job, but as such, you tend to increase your skills, pretty much as and when you need to. So there are things that I find that as a freelancer I do that I did less of when I was working full time. So obviously, software, software knowledge has to be increased. Software, as hardware, normally has to be upgraded in some way or form, because obviously your machine, you cope with it until obviously it's now suddenly a workhorse, and then you've got to try and basically get a better machine. But in terms of being aware of the freelancing world, I think you have to expand a bit more of your time into looking for different areas.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you've done that. You've been, I think, forced more than anything to do that, haven't you? But what I'm saying is, are you now experiencing the size and the warm friendliness of the industry itself?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think
Compared to when you were actually in a studio and locked in, sort of just with your work colleagues and people who you knew previous, rather than.
yes and no. I did 10 years of freelance before I went full time again. So, being a freelancer during those 10 years, I got to increase my network quite considerably, not just in work, not just in freelancers who I work with, but also with companies as well. So, you do you, and that's great because it means if you have a job that you can't do, you can pass it over to someone who you find or you know who is probably looking for work. And that was kind of like a big thing that we were doing then. I think everybody I know was like, I can't do this, I'm too busy. Do you reckon you could take it on?
Mm,
Now the recruitment push is quite colossal. I think particularly on something like LinkedIn,
mm,
where you get contacted by recruiters quite a bit. And then they'll say, we need someone who can do this. And then they get this big list of people who come on and say, I can do this. And then this, whatever the job was, apparently just vanishes. So I think a little part of that is maybe we need to know what the pool of people can do. So let's create a job. And I might be wrong. There may have actually been a job in the first place. But it might be we can create a ghost of a job and then see what people can do. So
mm,
there's been a lot more recruitment, people trying to get you to, what do you do? Can you work for us? That would be nice. Thank you very much. Boom. But at the same time, as you said, well, the obvious thing is, we've seen it. There's a lot of people being laid off, left, right, and centre during the second half, pretty much mostly, I think, of last year.
yeah.
It didn't seem so bad at the beginning, but I think part of that, though, I really do believe a lot of that is down to the writers' strike because loads of many projects just, they just close the doors. And again, I say that's as that being like VFX, so that's film and broadcast and games
Mm.
because they all rely quite heavily on script writers. So
Yeah, and I mean,
and actors as well.
yeah, they do, don't they? I mean, yeah, you know,
Mm.
nothing's created from nothing, is it? There is
Nope.
always a process, and it's been interesting because speaking of community, I mean, we've we seem to have found our own little community, which is
We
which is which
definitely
has
have, yeah.
become fascinating, terrifying at times, but I think causing both you and I to extend our own knowledge of how we are perceived and the things. But it's also, I think, more recently, you forget how much you actually know on some subjects, and sometimes how much you've forgotten. Certainly in my case.
Well, 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 exactly. I mean, I mean, you know me, and I know a lot of people who do whatever I do, or in terms of, well, everybody in every single job, we all suffer from imposter syndrome. If anyone says, oh no, I'm cocksure about everything I'm doing, well, just in that case, leave now because you're going to fall in your face if you think you know everything. And then the rest of us all are a bit like, well, I've done this, but am I good enough? Is it good enough? I've worked my arse off at it, and I'm hoping it's any good. And someone turns around and goes, "Oh, that's really good." You go, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," but then you don't believe them. So
Well, it's strange. I mean, you gave us a compliment the other day when I think that's the first time I've had any of my well, that's certainly the first time in 20 and some years that you've actually had to compliment me on some work.
was it today?
No, it wasn't today. No,
Okay,
no,
what
it
was it
wasn't.
then?
It was the robot stuff we were working on. It wasn't the fact that there was actually anything. It just wasn't a conversation we were having. It was
Mm.
some text that just came through the Discord and said, you know, really like that. Well done. It's good. Sometimes you do need that little, you do need everybody needs
Everybody needs a
a
boost.
an acknowledgement of work. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, the stuff we do on the Discord, it's all after hours for when you and I are able to work on it. But there's, and then we've got our mods that do the same. But they've automated so much stuff now. It's frightening how if you didn't have that kind of knowledge in there, how quickly the whole thing would unravel. We have had people join that have been, shall we say, rule breakers.
They may have been banned. We may have elicited our powers to remove them from the cord of disc.
The
We
thing that's the most scariest thing is when moderators, shall we say, catch a thread that
go
they
militant.
how fast they can unravel them. and the things that they know about these people, and when they set accounts up and how active they've been. It's like, where does this stuff? Where does it exist? I have no idea where this information is about me. So yeah, it's quite scary that that sort of information is held about you. But yes, so the podcast Discord community has just grown in such a nice organic way, which has really been nice. And tutors have been really good, because the tutors that we've invited on, which is pretty much if you're doing a media course
Yeah.
or or anything, and you want to be part of a community of like-minded, creative, technical people.
Yeah.
We will say there are all sorts. Please, go along to our LinkedIn page, find us on our website,
Mm.
which is thegrafterspodcast.com,
Yeah.
where you can find our Discord and Discord links. And then when you join the Discord, all you have to do is just change your name on the server to just first name will be fine,
Yep.
and then the institution you're at. So it's just so we get an idea of who we're talking to from which institution.
You can also find us as well. We have a channel on LinkedIn called the Graphters Podcast, and you can.
Yeah.
We always put stuff up on there.
And of course, we're on Spotify. You can find us on Spotify.
Yep, and we will be moving across as well into more social departments very soon. After a small discussion that was had today, which was, John, do you have a social media for the Graphters Podcast? Well, so John's response was, no, and my response was, no. And then followed by someone saying they would love to help us, but they can't because they've used up all of their extra handles on Twitter. Sorry, X. But yes, we are extending it out as far as we can. To make a point very quickly about the Discord, yeah, we have 169 members now on our Discord, and that's
169.
keeps on growing a little bit day by day. And a lot of people are very, very vocal, and a lot of people aren't.
Some just sit in the background and just mosey along.
But the point is, there's information that's going on there. We recently had, which I think is one of the nicest things that's happened. If I'm honest with this, we recently had a couple of things which we did. We did a Christmas challenge.
That was awesome.
It was wonderful. That was one of the best things in 2023, as far as I'm concerned. We did one based on the 12 days of Christmas. You could do an image based on the 12 days of Christmas, and it was originally just 3D, and then you had to basically show the breakdown of the initial idea, just doing a very rough block up, and then from there just working into it and showing us how you did things, and then basically showing us wireframes, which everyone seemed to forget, and then coming back to the the final big picture and all the little things you've done to it, and all the little twizzles and all the little bits to it to make it look beautiful, and we ended up getting all the there wasn't a huge amount of people who took part, but we had enough for winners.
We did. We had to make some decisions. We had to do some grading, some scoring. We applied some metrics. We had blind marking, which was great.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we could have been Ofsted inspected, or we could have been AQA tested.
Yep.
And I think we might just well have crept along the line of that's satisfactory.
Do not educate here.
And we learned a few things as well.
We did.
For the next challenge. There will be another one, which we'll discuss in a bit. There will be a more transparent set of criteria, so people know exactly what we're trying to get people to showcase and really push, people to explore how they present their work and how they showcase their work in the best way, which is all designed towards what industry expects more than I would say more than the academics. The academic sector would purport, but it will benefit you when you do it, because if you do it for industry,
that's it.
The academic sector will acknowledge it, I'm sure.
And even if you're not doing it to win a prize, you've actually done the whole kit and caboodle. You've actually gone through it and gone, I have done this and built all this up, and by doing it, I've learned a different route or another route which is considered more practical and more accurate. And then also at the end of the day, you've even got something which is fundamentally yours that you can stick up anywhere. We'd like very much to have it, so we can use it to promote us as well as you. But it's yours.
We have, we have got a showcase your work channel in which, we've got professionals showcasing work. We've got students and tutors showcasing work. I think worth giving a shout to Ellie from Northumbria, just on how brave she was on putting out the raw image the raw images as she was going along, and really deep diving into some of the feedback that she picked up. I mean, and the feedback came from so many different sources. I think we had sources from all over. We had industry people talking. We had all sorts of people commenting on, suggestions for, where improvements could. And the final piece that has been a submission piece for, for university, I think was light and day on, from where she was when we really started to take apart and dissect the work so that she could then layer the feedback into it. And she made some decisions on her own as well, which really complemented the work, which is fabulous. But I think the biggest thing was she was able to articulate why she took those changes on, and she was able to do that. So
Yeah.
Big props. We did say we would be limiting who we, whether we talk about people, but her work is public. It is on ArtStation, so
Yeah.
so I think it's fair play. We can sort of talk about that. So yeah, really, we're really pleased with the work you put out. And I think Phil the Maya guy was helping, and he said something very poignant. I think your work is never finished. It's just when you leave it. So
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
which was pretty cool. So yeah, really happy with the Discord community, and more to come, I'm sure. And it's not, we're not enrolling entire classes from colleges and universities and schools. We're allowing tutors to think which students would benefit from being a part of that community, and the things that go on. And it's fair to say we've got nearly 50 tutors in there.
Yes.
And we're able to see who is who with the roles that they take on. So 50 tutors. There's a lot of industry people as well that have joined and continue to join, which has been great. So I'm really happy about it.
It's quite humbling, actually, because when you create something like this, you don't know what it's going to be like. You don't know how well it's going to go down. I mean, I think we're very fortunate. I consider, actually, I'll be honest, I think I'm very fortunate because John has so many contacts out there. I've got a fair few in VFX, but nothing like the amount of contacts that John's got in the education system and industry. He's a credit.
I'm a social tart.
And a credit to the Discord. Yes, you are. You're a social butterfly.
If a butterfly can be 16 stone with a wingspan the size of a jumbo jet, yes.
But there's nothing wrong with that. It worked for Mothra.
It did. That's what I was thinking. Mothra.
Worked for Mothra. If it works for Mothra, John, it can work for you.
It can work for me.
So no, it's very humbling anyway, because it is just nice to be able to see people who are appreciating it, and it's so lovely to be able to give someone help. It's just not so lovely when everyone describes it as me nodening somebody. It just sounds wrong.
I think as the Discord grows and the numbers grow and the terminology grows with it of being nodened, I have aspiration for that reaching at least the digital version of the Collins English Dictionary or Urban Dictionary.
I'm going to start making up words and just putting them into the putting them into the chats and things. See if anyone picks up. Oh, but what about the Arfnut and the Squag Blurgler? And the and don't forget the Flunanga. Got to have a Flunanga running around on the sharp lattle. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
There's always the Flugelbinder, which is the bit that goes around the end of your shoelace, according to Tom Cruise in Cocktail. We've also had a bit of a think about season 3. Season 2 was good. We had a plan. We didn't stick to it very much. We had so many aspirations to bring guests on, and just tardiness, I think, on both our parts of not managing to seal the deal and get people booked in. Because obviously, not only do we have to organise Gary and myself's evening calendars and schedules around our lovely partners who think we're just messing around again, I'm sure. But we also then have to make sure that we can accommodate the guests' time as well, which is extremely important. And Gary has now put together a beautiful agenda, which we're going to have for every single session. Even, we wrote things in it today, and we're on number 5, I think now. So we're sort of following along.
A bit of bobbing around in it, but that's okay.
Yeah. So spring, we're trying to break it into like quarters. I think this year.
Yeah.
So we've got a spring, a summer, an autumn, and a winter. I think we'll probably get a bit thematic with that as well. As part of the Discord, someone that I've known for quite a long time. I think I've known him for about 5 years now. A chap called Simon Davis, former global head of recruitment at Industrial Light and Magic and Scanline, has set up his own recruitment company and is doing some really cool things going on with what he's doing. he reached out to me and said, love what you're doing with the podcast. How do you get into this sort of thing? What are you doing? How could I do it? How do you grow these communities? How do they work? And we had a couple of chats with him, and it's kind of been, do you know what, Simon? Don't know. It's just sort of happening. We're blessed, but we are. I offered maybe we should have a conversation. I'm giving him live on our podcast. Simon, we want you in the spring edition.
Definitely.
So let's make that happen. And I know that we did want to talk about some things about recruitment and also talent and all the pipeline.
Yeah.
Who else? And when we talk about it, pretty much on every podcast.
Yeah.
But to have someone like Simon to be able to really go into the minutiae of what it's all about, and and the experience he's got.
Yeah, and I think that's it as well, isn't it? The experience. I mean, it's what he can bring to the table in terms of because we can only sort of like get people to talk and get people to talk to industry people and lecturers and people with different opinions about things to expand the horizons of the students before they get into the industry. But then there's that last step, which is actually getting into the industries. And he might have quite a lot of opinions about that.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting as well because Simon's dealt with all kinds of recruitment, especially the higher end of recruitment. Talking about lead art directors and all those sort of jobs that are such pivotal jobs in any production, and they're out there fulfilling that talent pipeline. We've promised for a few times to get my CTO Lee Danskin on.
Chief Technical Officer.
He, what he doesn't know isn't worth knowing. So Lee will be in the spring editions. So I think I've pitched it to him as Technical Horizons.
That's good. I probably haven't seen Lee now for 24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, must be.
Well, yeah, if anybody's ever, as we start to talk about being nodened, and if you ever get nodened, you'll know what's happened to you. There's a few people that's been Dan-skinned, and that's for sure. So,
You see, you make it sound so awful. It's just a bit of tough love when it comes to things. That's all it is. Just a bit of tough love.
It is. Look, we have a new logo, so I'm pretty happy. We need to get that out on our social medias and that once we have some, and we will have some merch coming as well. I think.
Yes, well, the winners of the Christmas challenge. I gotta say, shall I just find them and say who they were? Because it would be nice, wouldn't it? So we had 3 winners in each category. We had 3 winners, 1 in each category, and it worked out really well. So we had our 3 categories, which were new kids, young bloods, and old. No, and
old guard.
Old
right
guard.
Right guard.
Right guard. Yeah. So there was a winner in each of those, and then because of just some outstanding work, there was an honourable mention at the end as well. And during the course of, as I said, John said, we got to come with see some wonderful stuff being done. They are all getting hoodies with our logo on, and that we won the Graphters podcast Christmas
2023
challenge.
Christmas challenge.
Yeah, or Christmas 2023 podcast. So we're quite pleased with that. It's a bit of merch, and as times are going by, we are going to be creating more merch, and we've just got to find the right platform for it. Whether we stick it onto Redshirt, or whether we do it on Shopify or whatever, we'll work it out and find a way. Nature finds a way. We'll find a way to get this stuff to people if they actually decide they also want to buy some stuff with our name on, which, if they wanted to, would be very, very fabulous. We might have to get some done, John, and to wear it ourselves, like a baseball cap.
Ooh.
Baseball caps are cool. Fezzes are cool.
Yeah, there are some platforms out there that we can potentially get them done. I have just messaged one of the moderators just to say, who the challenge?
Yes. Where is the Christmas challenge? And as well as, obviously, so we now have the Easter challenge, which is coming along, which we're not going to mention what it is, but it'll be made very obvious within a couple of weeks of this podcast. Or
exactly.
Hopefully 1 week of this podcast coming out. So it'll either be in a week's time or in 2 weeks' time. One of the two.
It'll be cracking.
It'll be amazing. And also, with one of the biggest thing, and I know we had a few questions with people today on the Discord and said, how long did you think you'd need for a challenge? And this was after the challenge was discussed and decided and all planned out. And someone said, well, what about 4 weeks? And we looked at the challenge and just went, no. We need to get this out now for Easter, just to make sure that everybody has enough time to create what they want without feeling as though it's rushing or getting in the way of anyone else's work. And I think probably 3 of these a year probably would work out quite well. So less on the quarters, more every 4 months.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, which is how this is probably going to end up being.
Okay, so thanks to M. New Kids winner was Callum. The Youngbloods winner was Ellie. The Old Guard winner was Adam.
Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight from D3T.
Yeah.
Props. And the overall winner was Adam
Yes.
because of just
Why?
well, he went where no one has gone before. He sought out new lands.
It was insane, but worthy.
Absolutely worthy, yeah. I mean, his take on 3 French hens, aka 3 three hench hens.
There were 3 French hens.
They were 3 French hens, but he did 3 hench hens.
Well, no, they still had French things on them, like
Yes, they were hench.
packet of Gauloises cigarettes, and
so he did them, but he whittled them out of wood first.
I know.
He did the sketches, did the full breakdown of the concept, the juxtaposition of the final concept and the piece.
Yeah.
He followed the rules. He put it on a white background. Yeah. He
even gave us wireframes.
Even gave us wireframes.
From his photogrammetry.
Yeah. Did some photogrammetry, 3D scanned those in, brought them in, unwrapped them, remeshed them. It was really good.
He probably could have done it without that in half the time.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's not the point, is it?
He did it as a journey, and he'd always wanted to try it out, and it was an opportunity to do something like that.
Absolutely,
and we took his hat off to him. Look, he's always been a smart ass, even when I taught him. So it's great to see he's not changed, and it was just
careful. People will think it's favoritism if you say things like that.
Oh, he will definitely tell you he had no favoritism from me. In fact, I think he constantly says that bullied would be a strong word for it, but I was very, very strong in my opinions of him and his work ethics, which drove him, I think, to be as good as he is. Which is fantastic. And it's just a shame as an imperious baker that he is, and we often see on his Instagram these beautiful loaves and these baking, culinary baking things that he does. I can't partake in them because they're both full of gluten.
Whereas I don't care about gluten, and therefore so please, Adam, send us bread. I love bread. I make about 3 loaves myself a week. So keep always never stop breading.
We must do a bake-off.
Can we just complete this thing first? Right.
And then there was an honourable mention to Adolfo as well from Hopwood, I think he is. So I think he's at Hopwood.
Yeah, he's at Hopwood Hall.
So tutor at Hopwood Hall, but in his first year of teaching, did an absolutely beautiful piece. There was just some, and again, some of the things that he did for technical ingenuity was brilliant, just brilliant, totally bonkersly overcooking a lot of it. But if you're doing it as a project like that, and it is completely it's almost like a PhD sort of exercise, isn't it? You're throwing the what ifs at the wall and seeing what sticks. And some really good stuff. So I mean, obviously Adam taking it into the reality of the real world with whittling wood and whatever else. I think just pushed it over the line. But it was he ran him a close second, didn't he? So it was good, very good.
No, it was very, very impressive, and that's the thing, just great work from everyone. Even the people who didn't win, and even the people who didn't manage to complete. Some of the stuff there was so promising. It was really lovely to see, and it also makes us feel good.
And we did try to give feedback to everybody. I think when we were doing so everybody that did a submission got feedback, and we did it live in the live biscuits. So we did it on Discord live, and people tuned in to sort of see it live. It was like a little bit like Eurovision. We probably got more viewers than Eurovision. It was great.
I doubt it. I watch Eurovision. Never miss it. I love Eurovision.
So that was good. And then obviously recently we've had industry doing giving up their time after work to do live demonstrations, which has been awesome. So that's cool. And you suggested quite rightly the other day when we were talking, we should make it a feature and try and get someone from within the community to maybe offer up and do something more regularly, which would be quite cool.
It would be. I think it would be very useful for anyone who's at college or university or whatever to actually have somebody from the industry to basically do a live talk about something. And the fact that we're getting it via the Discord means hopefully it might even end up driving more people to the Discord, which is great. But also it just means there's this like little funnel of information which is helping everyone. And it's like, it's not like there's any charge or anything like that. You just join in, and then there will be these amazing things coming up. I may even do one myself.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh God! If you do one, I'm gonna have to do one.
Well, what would we do? Actually, how about this? Should we just do a podcast for a while?
We could do a live biscuits podcast.
In fact, that probably is yeah. I think that's probably a really good idea. Please, you are live on Live Biscuits. Please do not swear.
I mean, we could invite people who are in the audience to come on the podcast if they so wish.
Absolutely.
Have their 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah. And along with, we'd have to, along with also the Live Biscuits on there are going to be some occasions this year when we're going to be out and about doing
2024, yeah. So the events. So we will be attending Format again this year.
Yep.
Which will be cool. I think we may try to get to both of the events.
Yes.
Yeah, the VIP and the rave afterwards. Yeah, that would be really
I would
cool.
very much like to be there for the after party.
Yeah. And obviously there's 3 formats this year so far that are in the calendar. We've got Manchester, Liverpool, and then Manchester again. So that's really cool, and big props to Simran and the team that are behind Format, because it just continues to be amazing. We're going to get out on tour again to visit some educational institutions and support the lecturers and the students, giving some critiques and reviews on their work. We've been asked by a couple of tutors in the Discord that will be on-prem and potentially a live podcast. And I'm not sure how that will work. We're still looking into the technicalities of it.
Well, if it's anything like all the other ones we do, John, we kind of have a list and basically wing it. So we should be okay. What we need to do is just some of the technical side of some of the recording and whatnot. So that's okay.
And we do want to get out there as well to some of the events and actually go to the events as journalists and have a dig around and get some behind the scenes of what's going on at some of these events, because there's some big events out there, like Manchester Animation Festival, which is obviously really cool. We came so close to attending that this year, but it clashed with a few dates.
Just unfortunately, yeah.
There will be Scottish Games Week again. Obviously, it'd be cool to do something with that. There's the
I think we have to, because
World VFX Day. We were so close to having a small cameo podcast on that, but then we both came down with flu, and we couldn't record anything. So massive sorry to Hugo and the team who did an amazing 24 hours of stuff on there that was just so cool, and that was all organized within a month. That is just so much good work done there.
That's people who organise things properly, that is, John.
Yes, clearly. Very talented people that organise things.
Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need somebody who can actually act as our social secretary.
We just can't afford them, Gary.
I know we can't afford.
That's just the problem. We
I love Discord. It's practically free. It's great.
I think I said to you we should do it on Discord. It's free, and now I'm spending money every month on it. So
well, yeah, I'm putting a bit in, but I just can't afford anything higher than the £4 a month at the minute.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, but also big props to anyone who's basically been boosting our channel as well, server as well. There's a few people who've been doing that, and it's just delightful when someone goes, do you know what? I'm going to boost these guys. And that's like, woohoo! It's really, really great. It's really, and everyone's being so generous with their time and stuff. It's wonderful.
And the name turns empiric purple, doesn't it? Emperor Purple. So it's quite a cool.
Yes, like James Evans from the University of YouTube, who joined us 21 days ago.
Oh, James,
within no time at all was purple.
He threw me as well. I dropped into a Live Biscuits. There's a general video chat channel that's just open to anybody if they want to talk and just pass the time of day. And it was after hours. I think we'd just finished up doing some sort of recording or something. I think
it was the Live Biscuits.
Yeah, we'd just done that. So I was still in the mood of being social and whatever. And I think some of the people were live, and James was sharing his screen, and Peyton was sharing his screen, and I sort of just dropped in, and suddenly there was
another server booster. Might I add.
Yeah. There's suddenly this. Oh my god, they've joined. It's like, what's going on here?
It's like the teachers. Yeah, the teachers have suddenly popped into the
classroom. Just on the props, going back to World VFX Day, the main sort of driver of it, and got to give her a massive shout out, Hayley Miller, who was a P&R marketing consultant. Absolutely 100%, 1000% smashed the whole thing. Organized everybody and rallied, some really big hitters to really give their time. And Simon Devereaux and Hugo from Hugo's Desk, they were all, absolute champions. It was a pretty amazing to see people talking about the VFX industry, especially in light of some of the comments that were made pre-Christmas on things like Napoleon that were taken out of context, and no CGI in it, and 250 CGI artists listed in the credits, just listed, not painting out any contrails, or not extending sets whatsoever, or not, doing crowd replacements, and not color grading the whole thing.
Yeah, I think people got to. It's understanding what CGI means. It doesn't necessarily mean spaceships and monsters.
Yeah, just big props to all those, and Alwyn Hunt as well. And Saint Walker, who brought all that together within 4 weeks. So amazing, just amazing. Yeah, so 2024, we've got some big stuff happening. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
we're back, baby.
We are, and I feel like we're moving forwards at a big pace. As I say, there's lots of stuff going on, and all being well, there'll be a lot more of us to see, and a lot more things coming from us by the end of this year.
Yeah, we've got some big aspirational things beyond the podcast and beyond the Discord. Which, I mean, for me, if these can come off and you can be doing this 24/7,
that's my plan.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
Being the editor-in-chief of the podcast, and nothing gets by you.
Well, a lot of this stuff lands up on the cutting room floor, so yes, nothing does get by me.
Well, wrapping it up then, I suppose.
I think so, because the last 15 minutes is probably on the carpet.
Well, it's not. It's in the drawer.
It's in the drawer. A little chunk of it might be at the front. You never know. And also,
I'm not sure we swore that much actually in this one.
No, not a lot of swearing. No, I think I said once. Well, I've definitely said it now at least once.
Yeah, but this is already in the cut, so it doesn't matter. Do you know when we've got a list of things what we're supposed to say, we don't swear?
It is true. I think it homes the mind of it. It forces us to be a bit more practical.
We need something in the middle that's a bit spongy.
I've got that. I've already got that. It's called my belly.
Like the stickiness in a toffee pudding.
Yes, that is still my belly. Because it's mostly made up from Christmas chocolate and toffee puddings. Did you, right, just very quickly, and this probably will stay in. Over Christmas and New Year, what is the best thing you ate?
Oh my gosh.
I know. Isn't it a biggie?
Do you know what? Marie normally does a really good Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
But this year, the Christmas dinner was just, everything was right temperature, right crispiness, ready to go at the right time, and we sat and we ate, and the plate just disappeared, and it was kind of like I could eat that again.
What you meant? All the food was just sitting on the table. The plate just disappeared.
I think that Christmas dinner was it. We had a honey roast ham that was done in the air fryer. So that was which was it was something I'd wanted to try. And Marie was a little bit. Are you sure it's going to be cooked in that short amount of time? It's an air fryer. Let's go. And it crackled up perfectly. It was so succulent, really nice. Sorry to anybody that's not obviously of the meat eating variety. If this does go in, other foods are available. Enjoy your carrots. But they do scream when you put them in the pot alive.
Don't say that.
So yeah,
because at least the meat doesn't scream because it died ages ago.
But I would say that was it. Yeah, really, because obviously. The other thing, we went out for Christmas Eve for lunch, and we went to Prove in Sheffield, which is a pizzeria.
Oh, yeah.
And they did a handmade gluten-free pizza for me that was the best pizza I have ever had in my life.
Is that because it's been so long since you had a pizza?
Maybe I no longer remember what a pizza tastes like. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and other denominations and factors. The other thing was, it was the same size as Marie's pizza. because I have a really big bugbear with all of you retailers out there and foodie places that say you do gluten-free options and then a kids version comes along. What was yours? What was yours?
Well, I will. I want to say something about pizzas first, very quickly. I remember, I don't know whether they still do, but Pizza Express did a line of pizzas that were meant to be less fatty.
Oh yeah, well, they cut the hole out in the middle.
They cut the hole at the middle, and that used to make me laugh so much. You'd see these people, they're going, "Oh, isn't this pizza great?" And you can hear the clatter of the knife as it's hitting this piece of china underneath this.
I think Marie had one once, and it was like, no.
Never doing that again. Yeah, it's like you turn. Oh, well, is it calzone? Everything's pouring out. The best thing I had this Christmas, I went to Costco. Being a freelancer means I joined Costco. And so obviously I use the card for the business stuff, but occasionally I go in and buy stuff just for us for the house. And I bought a tower of cheese. And so the bottom was a Stilton, and then there was a very creamy, milky cheddar that was still mature. Then there was a red Leicester. Then there's another cheddar, but it's a little really powerful one. And then on top is another smooth cheddar. I missed out. There's also a brie in there, a camembert in there as well. And the top is we haven't opened it yet because we're literally working through it. It was so much cheese, and we bought it for a party that we had before Christmas. So it's just food upon food. So on the top was this very, very small kind of round wax covered, because they're all covered in wax.
They're called truckles.
Thank you. There's this small truckle of of dark cheddar and caramelized onion.
That sounds divine. Yeah.
And I desperately want to crack into that. But so I'm really looking forward to eating that, because all those cheeses actually from Costco, they were mint. You know, they were honestly, it was all amazing.
Aldi do a manchego, but they don't call it manchego. Spanish cheese. No, they call it Spanish cheese or something.
Oh yes.
But it's manchego, and it is brilliant. It's and when we went to Spain this year, we had a tapas at a restaurant in Malaga, Old Town Central, and I ordered the cheese board, and the manchego came out with the rind still on, but in little triangles. So I recreated that, but obviously instead of the 4 little triangles that we had for €10, we had a block of manchego cut into about 40 polygons worth of little triangles of cheese. It was Marie. I was like, Marie, don't eat them all. But yeah, we did. We were poorly on it, but it was nice poorly in a sense of cheese overload.
I got 3 bottles of whiskey for Christmas off different people.
I got a few of those, but I bought them all myself. Really, I would say if Neil's listening, the port, I finally had some. The port, he got us a bottle of port that was absolutely beautiful. I sent him a bottle of Thiers. Wine.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was all. Yeah, we were very cultural. Yeah,
that's very lovely. But I think the best thing I ate the entire Christmas was something we got for free.
Hey.
Which sounds awful. Typical me, open source dinners. And what it was basically is my eldest child, Molly, works at Waitrose.
Okay, I'm a massive Waitrose fan, by the way.
Yeah, and it's been really busy over Christmas, obviously. So Molly's been at work so much, yeah. And Molly wasn't going to be working on Christmas Eve, so the last day they did was the day before. Comes home, she gets out of the car, she comes to the house, and she always brings stuff in. Like a potted plant that's fallen over, or stuff that she's wanted and bought and put it on one side. And she comes and goes, "Oh, I've got a new pudding." And I'm like, "What is it?" And it was basically, it was like you take a sphere and just cut off that top 12%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's what it was. It was that top 12% of a sphere on a piece of card, on a grid. There you go. Let's do it properly. Make it all 3D. And essentially, it was like a chocolate mousse with a cream on it. It's called a quenelle, not a quinelle. A quenelle, so it was Quenelle, and it was about so wide, so it was probably about 10 inches in diameter.
8, but yeah, go on.
I always overcompensate. So let's say all right, so like 8. No, it was about, let's say 9 to be on the safe side. So it's 9 inches in diameter, okay, and you cut a slice of this thing, and it was the richest. And I don't mind chocolate desserts, but I've really got to be in the mood for them. But this was just unbelievably stunning.
Yeah.
And so we had some on Christmas Day, because I don't like Christmas pudding anyway. So we had some on Christmas Day. And normally I'd be like, I'm stuffed. And even though I've done all the cooking, I'm like, I'm stuffed. I'm done. I can't eat a thing. There's no way I can eat another thing. And I finished that Christmas meal, and I actually felt, because a couple of days before I'd been feeling terrible. And I sat there and I ate my lunch, and I was like, I've got room.
Hey,
I've got room.
My pudding pocket's empty.
It was. I had a big gap in the top of my left leg. I needed to fill it. But it was just, honestly, you could put one in front of me now and I would probably eat half of it. I'd be really violently ill afterwards. But it's one of the, when you take a mouthful and you're like, I've got to keep going.
Yeah.
It's like me and a bag of wine gums. If you open a bag of wine gums in front of me, I'll eat the whole bag, and I just never buy them because they're just deadly for me.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was just delightful. Anyway, it's now just gone 9:30 in the evening.
Yes.
So all in all, 2023 was good. 2024 is going to be better.
2024 is going to be better, and I think there's room for optimism. There's lots of things that certainly I'm doing that I know that I'm looking forward to in 2024, and it's going to be good. The work's going to get more and more. We just got to be prepared for it, and and looking at what we've got in our community, just a very small, little cross section of who the people that we are now encountering on a minute by minute basis, if we're not careful.
Absolutely. And also, all of the things that I have heard about stuff that's going on in the industries around us that I can't say a word about. Nothing at all. That's all the stuff that I know that's going to happen this year. There is stuff going to happen this year which could potentially completely change the face of some parts of our industry. It's amazing. Stick with us and you'll hear about it at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully from the horse's mouth. You never know.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that would be nice.
So,
right.
Podcast 1 in the can.
Yes. Season 3, episode 1. Done. Okay, guys, listen, thanks very much for joining us. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Don't forget, you can always contact us via LinkedIn. You can contact us via the website. You can contact us via Spotify. You can leave comments wherever you can leave comments, so please do. And we'll speak to you the next one. So it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Hey! Night, John.
Good night, Gary.
Take care, mate. Bye.
This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License. Any opinions stated during the course of this podcast belong purely to myself and to John and are based at the time that we record this. The theme music is My Everything by DJ Quads. If you like that, and I'm sure you probably did, there is a lot more of his great stuff which you can find at soundcloud.com/DJ Quads, or his music is also promoted by www.free-stock-music.com.